Well, well, I know it's a bit of a bizarre time for people that reside in the country of Scotland to be doing a stream, admittedly. And funnily enough, there's nobody watching. I was never really under the impression there would be many when it came to doing it this time of the night, but it's more just for, people that might want something to watch tomorrow or something. And I kind of feel that I need to address a few things in terms of, first of all, my inactivity for the last wee while on YouTube. Firstly, I don't have a recording software at the moment to record videos, but I've just been kind of taking a bit of a break as well. A bit burnt out, which probably everybody's seen when it came to the stream that took place last Sunday. Would have had a bit of a spurg out at people in the chat. So I apologise to the individuals in the chat that were, if they listening at a later date. If you're one of the people that I snapped at, just things got a bit on top of me, like shit going on behind the scenes. But that's really all you need to know, because without sounding harsh, it's kind of got fuck all to do with it. But I still wanted to address it nonetheless. But that said, there's a lot of shit I've got to do behind the scenes and stuff. So I just felt that there was some things. There's quite a lot of things that I've been posting on Telegram that have happened in Scotland in the last few weeks that I kind of feel I'll just kind of compile some of the worst of them in our stream the now. So for people that can watch it at a later date, I didn't want to step in anybody's toes tonight. I know that there was John Davidson was streaming, and then the Ayatollah and whatnot were streaming, and I waited and I waited and I waited. And, well, they didn't want to fucking end the stream, did they? So that was going on for a while. And then obviously Bonnie Lad and whatnot tomorrow. So I don't want to be stepping on toes. That said, somebody in Scotland is up at the same time as me, and I thought I'd be on my own for this one, but it's Exiled Viking for the third time back on my channel. How's it going, Gudgy?
Going very well, thanks. Thank you for inviting me on.
That's fine, I guess. Especially come on at this time of night, like, I don't have to pay people to come on at this time, but, if you want to come on, you come on. Who doesn't want to rib Graham Campbell for a couple of hours, or a couple of hours? That'll take us about fucking 5 o'clock in the morning, and but this guy, I think, if I'm correct in saying, you're the individual that's sometimes on John Davidson's chat. Eki, you go by as well. That's what he calls you anyway. Hello. Yeah, I suppose you live in the land of the Yankee Doodly Doo, so it's quite early for you. It is, we're living as nocturnal creatures. But that said, there's been a few things that have taken place in Scotland over the course of the past few weeks. Some more worse than others, so to speak, in terms of seriosity. Some just a bit more humorous. But I think, that said, I will bring up the article that I did mention before we went live. People need to see this. Graham Campbell. It's only 7 p.m. here, according to your man. Well, it's getting that point in the morning. I don't know what it's like where you are, but for where I am, I'm starting to hear the birds outside. I fucking don't like that, man. I really don't like hearing birds outside. But because you're down in Edinburgh or that area anyway, so you must be hearing them and all, surely.
So me?
Aye, well,
I'm in Glasgow. I'm in the same city as Scott's Armour, and no chance.
You're down that neck of the woods, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you must be hearing fucking birds in the van.
Well, actually, I don't hear the birds, but I see the daylight creeping over the horizon, and that's not a good sign.
No, it's not, man. I remember from when you used to go out in the piss now when you were like a teenager or whatever you were doing, and then when you ended up in a house, like, on a party or something, and then when you hear, like, you see the light and the birds and stuff coming through the window, you can hear it through the window. It's like the end of the night. The night's over. Whereas I'm starting my fucking stream and that. But as I said, it's for people more or less to watch at a later date, as opposed to sitting here like a bunch of fannies thinking that we're going to accumulate, muster up all the views under the sun. But fuck off. So
it's a good hour for those across the pond, like Eki there. I can't write to you, Eki, but I will say good evening, sir. I hope you're well.
So it is the one I'm thinking of. It's in John Davidson's chat sometimes. So same person.
Yeah.
Okay. Small world. But yeah. So I found this article yesterday. And it was actually by accident. I was looking for something else because obviously the S&P's conference is coming up soon. And they're starting to put forward all these amendments for things that they're going to discuss when it comes to the actual conference. And obviously, for anybody that's listening and that's known from, I mean, I probably assume it operates the same in other countries, but just in case it doesn't, what ends up happening at that point when it comes to the actual conference is these amendments will be voted on either for or against, and that's effectively like new policies that will be implemented. So this one, as you can see on the screen, the Scottish Parliament, and now we've already had Glasgow, Glasgow Council doing this, and Edinburgh Council doing this, but now they're not satisfied with that. These people are now trying to get the Parliament itself to do the same thing, and what I'm referring to, of course, is to apologise for slavery, right? And of course, it would be none other than a specific Rastafarian bobag who is behind the amendments, him and his land whale wife, which or bird anyway, one of the two. But anyway, I'll read a lot of that. So it says that there's a resolution included in the party's provisional conference agenda details. Conference agenda details the historical involvement of Scots in the tobacco. I think there's a bit of a fuck up in that. Anyway, the motion, if passed, I should have started off with, would see the Scottish government tasked with deciding whether a national apology for the Scottish Parliament would be possible. It has been proposed for debate at the conference by Anne McLaughlin, who is Graham Campbell, the Rastafarian man, the SNP's BAME convener, unironically called the S&P's BAME convener, and Anne McLaughlin's his chubby wife or bird. So, of course, it'd be proposed by them. I could pull up a video at some point of them at another conference where she makes a fool of herself. Well, they both do. But, but it gets worse. So, reading through this article, it brings up Glasgow, as I already alluded to. It says that the leader of the council, Glasgow's council, is called Susan Aitken, and she said that the blood of trafficked and enslaved Africans is what built Glasgow's very bones, right? And then this was followed up by all the shit that took place on the Black of Floyd, etc., etc. But if I recall correctly, there should be a reference to they reference Edinburgh after that, because the same procedures took place in Edinburgh or is in the process, aka Edinburgh's going to end up apologising for slavery. And then it goes on to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement. Big bad Georgie Boy Floyd gets a mention. Of course, he fucking does. This is 2022. Some people seem to forget that. And then it culminates or concludes even by saying that the conference motion states, conference, however, notes the general lack of public awareness of the key role Scotland played in the development of the ruthless system of exploitation of enslaved African labour in these colonies. The conference believes honesty and owning up to the past is something most people in Scotland are open to. Conference therefore resolves to ask the government to examine the possibility of the Parliament making a formal national apology for Scotland's central role in the perpetuation of slavery and its colonial colonial legacies, and urge it to work closely with representatives. Scott, you gotta be in diaspora. And it also calls, it says there, primarily through public awareness, education, social and historical memory, right? And I mean, I'm not going to yammer on too much more, but just this section here, it says that the resolution also calls for the S&P to back calls for a national museum on slavery in Glasgow and to increase the scale of the links between Scotland and Jamaica as an act of reparative justice. So I don't know where to begin with that, but I've just rambled on for two initial thoughts on the possibility of the Scottish Parliament getting down on its hands and knees and apologising to those beautiful, hard-working pyramid-building beams.
That's a good one.
You must, honestly, like I was completely blown away when I seen that. I was like, this has got to be a joke. I mean, I should have expected something like that, but it's like instead of irony, irony, bro. It's like it's just unironic, just constant unironic.
I know.
Unfunny shit.
It's absolute. I was going to say it's just so sad and desperate. There are more important things to worry about, but they would rather focus on the non-essentials. Absolute BS.
Yeah. No, you're right. As you said before we went live, like obviously when it comes to just your bog standard member of the S&P and whatnot, I don't think either of us are under any illusion that they really give a shit about the stuff that they're saying per se. But like when it comes to Graham Campbell, like that man, I'm sure he's it's like, and I have to preface this by saying it's like allegedly here. Yeah, I don't want to get sued by Graham Campbell, but it's like almost screams out to me. It's like it's sort of a very toxic relationship that they have, because she comes across as a woman who feels compelled to make these cases because it was her that put the motion forward. Like, you know, it's as if he's coercing her to do these things because he's a borderline black supremacist, and here's this fat wife of his or bird of his who makes a fool of herself every time she speaks. And I'm looking for the video right now. Just an embarrassment of a woman, and she's a nervous wreck half the time. And I believe it's him that's the focal point behind these moves all the time. But I don't know if you've seen his bird before, have you?
No, I haven't, no. But it wouldn't surprise me. He's probably an abusive husband, and we don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
No, but no, it just, that's what it screams. I've got a few videos on my YouTube channel of her making appearances at these S&P conferences. And it's just the shit she says. Like, he says it because he hates white people. She says it because it's almost as if it's been beaten into her. And I don't mean physically, Graham, right? Back's sake. Do not do anything to me, Graham, pal, right? I'm just meaning metaphorically, figuratively speaking, Graham, you know? Let me stress that. But wait, though. So I've got the conferences here. It should be this one. If it is, I'll share the screen. Like, it's unbelievable. Oh, here we are. Here we go. Right. So this is, that's why I kept Rory's comment highlighted on the screen, because he says that his wife's maiden name was McLaughlin. Well, me and McLaughlin. Graham Campbell's built on the sides. Our wife, more like. Allegedly, Graham. Fuck me. Oh, come on. Don't hurt me, Paul. You know. Sure, this Graham. Wait till you, I want you to take note of what you see behind her with like the green screen type shit. Because I'm not going to say anything, but just read it. Just read it to yourself. You'll see.
Okay.
I need to mute though, just so it doesn't echo.
Is that Graham Campbell's wife?
The resolution passes overwhelmingly by 535 votes to 10. Let's move on now to our next resolution, which is resolution number 13, entitled Rejections of Nationality and Borders Bill, to be proposed by Anne McLaughlin MP and seconded by Graham Campbell, being convener. Welcome to Anne and Graham.
Thank you, convener. Conference, I cannot begin to tell you how utterly scunnered I am with this nationality and borders bill. Scunnered, depressed, verging on distressed, horrified. Honestly, don't know where to start. In the time I have, I can't cover all of it, so I'm just going to do my best to focus on 3 of the worst aspects. First of all, this legislation will criminalise people for seeking asylum and also
So yeah, I just wanted to show you there. I thought that's her. There was another video that I could put on of her where it's even worse, and she's talking about unconscious bias. But it's just, I don't know. It's just, I just wanted to show you her there. But
I know, I've seen her before, but yeah, it's the same usual talking points. They all read from the same script.
Aye, refugee man.
Stuff of nightmares. Now I'm going to have nightmares. Thank you, DJ.
Fucking Graham Campbell. Stay there. Oh, yeah, William. You can fire on if you want, William. Don't worry. I'm not going to be talking about like BAME shit all night. I've got like other things I want to touch upon. I wanted to start off with the mockery of that story there. So if you want a link, like I can fire it there. And I'm pretty surprised to see this man here. He's pretending that he's got a sore back, so he doesn't have to go to work. Instead of resting, he's up on YouTube at 3 in the fucking morning. So, you know, I'm just saying, I think he's at it, Paul, if I'm being honest. But no, I don't really think there's anything more for me to. Oh, he's in his kip. Right, that's fair enough. Well, yeah, everyone's pretty much their fucking bed at this point. And just as I said, this is a sort of stream for people to watch at a later date if they want. I just kind of need to cover some things. We got Shinobi the Bobby now. What the fuck? Why is there so many people up from the UK? Like, this is weird. All you boys on the gate, like, oh, Jesus Christ. I did think that Cody McLaughlin would be a good name. Oh yeah, but now you know what you know in regards to you know, the link between that and Anne McLaughlin is a sort of a tarnished name, if you ask me. 5G. Okay. Right, so I don't really think we need to really go much more into that unless you've got any final thoughts on that. I'm going to, just for the boys there that never seen that, we were on about the Scottish Parliament could be apologising for slavery if the motion passed at their next conference. So that's something that we can all look forward to together, because I'm sure that most people in Scotland, you know, during a quote-unquote cost of living crisis, and they're not entirely sure whether or not they're going to be able to pay their bills or be able to afford petrol for their car, etc., etc. But it's all good. We can all go to bed at night with a little less stress than we ordinarily would have if we can just think to ourselves that in the future, our bullcat-headed bitch of a leader will be apologising on behalf of Scotland for slavery. So, yeah, that's something that we cherish. I'm so proud of my nation.
Oh, so yeah.
We have our priorities.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Oh, yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so that's that one out of the way. What else have I got here? I've got some stuff that I've got saved on saved messages in Telegram, and then I've got the crap here. I think it's time to come on to some LGBT conversation, if I could find the article in question, because I've seen this doing the rounds, like two actually about the LGBT. A story which is a white pill from England, and the second one, if I could find it. I mean, it's very awkward if I've not the one tab. I should have fucking opened. Well, wait, it might be on my actual. It's probably on my actual Telegram. It's fine. But so in England, I don't know if you've seen these or heard of these stories in England. There's like it's like the Tavistock clinic, you know, like the clinics for like transitioning teenagers. They give them like puberty blockers and all this shit. Well, that's been shut down down there. So that's a heavyweight pill. I mean, I've seen stuff on Telegram that there's people already trying to sue them for shutting it down. But it'll make more sense when I actually get the article up. But there's also simultaneously up here in Scotland, though, the Scottish government are being criticised for all the funding that they're pumping into Stonewall, the charity, quote-unquote charity that kind of promotes the exact same shit that the clinic down south in England has been shut down for. So it's a bit of a stark contrast in many respects, you know. But I've got one of the articles up in the tab. I'm just trying to find the other one on my channel, like. But have you heard any of these yet? Or?
Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces, but I never really listened to it because it's all the same usual bullshit, and I just switch off. But yeah, I'm aware of it.
I'll be honest. I hadn't heard anything about Stonewall. I knew what Stonewall were like, but I'd never heard the story question I'm about to bring up, because apparently they're in a bit of bother for stuff that they've been quoted as saying from last week. I didn't even know that they said that. Like, which again I'll get up, but I'm just trying to find, what was it called? Was it gender clinic? There we go. It should come up on my the NHS. There we go. Right, that's both articles. So I just open them fucking up and we're good to go. Like, so I don't know which one I'll start with. I'll probably start with the black pill first, because it's always nice to end on a white pill, as they say. Like, but yeah. So sorry about that. Like, what is a beam? Well, I don't know. I think that Willie, that what you're trying to do to me right now at 3 in the fucking morning is get me to Fed post and say things that might get me in trouble when people wake up. in the mornings? No, I will not be answering that question, but you can use your imagination, and I know you're not that way inclined. See, I'm doing you a solid by stressing point that your morals, your moral compass is absolutely correct. Whereas I, on the other hand, well, I can't be trusted to be polite on such a manner. So I won't be talking about the BAME, okay? We've talked enough about BAMEs for one fucking day. And so, yeah, was it? I'll say this though. I mean, was it not the? Are you talking about in Wales? The one in Wales, like Joe Marsh was talking about, or are you talking about the stuff that was taking place over the course of the last few days? Because PA were out. I did see the stuff with the Telegram and that. But it wasn't just PA. Like there was the other group. What they called? INN as well. Both of them. So if it was, you said that it's in England, so it was a pair of them. They were both doing it, as well as like just everyday normies as well, which is good to see groups coming together. But it wasn't just PA, but all credit to them nonetheless.
I saw that video of them at a meeting, and they just burst into an applaud when it was very clearly not going to go ahead. So they decided that was a victory, and well done.
Yeah, quite the Antifa and that turning up. I mean, imagine turning up as a member of Antifa to combat the evil parents that have an issue with your children being propagandized. I mean, they really are the wires crossing the wrong man. But so this is the white pill. I need to start the black pill. Right, okay. I need to soften you up first. So, so the Scottish government have been slated over 371k payments. 300,000. Right, you get the point, right? It's fucking almost 3:10 in the morning. Give me a break, all right? Payments to under fire charity Stonewall. 300,017k. I couldn't let that go. Like, I had to get that right. So anyway, so it was being criticised by 4 Women Scotland. And the reason for it initially was because of what they came out and said just last week, as I reiterated earlier. Questions have been asked about the government's major funding to the LGBT charity Stonewall, who've come under fire due to a trans toddler controversy. The organisation was forced to defend a statement it made just last week, where it suggested children as young as 2 could identify as trans. I mean, as I said, I had no idea that this story in particular this story, or this shit show even had taken place until I read this article just yesterday, right? But it started off just because I covered these fucking stories about last year time that the SNP rubber stamped new guidance for schools in Scotland, where if you're as young as 4 years of age, where you're learning all about the gender bender BS, if you're a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, any age after the age of 4, and you express any sort of confusion or whatever the case may be, it can stay confidential between you and the school. You don't need to tell the parents don't need to be informed that you're changing your gender. I thought that 4-year-old was the cutoff point, but now they're talking about fucking 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
My laptop's frozen, so I don't know if you can hear me.
I hear you.
All right, but it's totally monging out, what the fuck? But yeah, it's just not responding at the moment. Is my screen still shading?
Okay,
that's in a weird okay. But
I'm just concerned that my eating cereal is making a lot of noise because it's a lot of crunching. So if that's making noise, I apologize.
Well, there's not really much I can do about it right now, and I've got a frozen screen. Fuck's sake, man! Oh, come on, it's still doing that, and I can't even press stop sharing. It's fucked. Wait a minute, I've got an idea. I'll go into my Telegram. I'm that might solve the issue, and then I'll come out fucking. I don't know, man. Wait, is that not? Is that fuck? What's going on? Holy shit! Right. But I need to sort this out, and then I'll continue reading my story here. but I can't stop saying fucking screen. Oh, fuck. Well, this has gone from bad to worse. Live on there, another car crash. So Sunday it was a spurg out, and now the next time I try to do a stream, my laptop spurgs out. Well, funnily enough, my laptop spurged out on Sunday as well. Anyway, trying to showcase to the world who Clive Chance really fucking was, and the laptop started monging out, and now it's doing that again. Fuck's sake. So I don't know what's going on here, man.
Yeah.
Well, that was fucking weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man. Don't know what that was about. That was a major spurg out.
I was about to take over, but you jumped in the nick of time because I really didn't know what to say. I was on the spot.
No, I don't fucking blame you. I was thinking the fuck I felt, man. I've already gone through this pain already. I went through it on fucking Sunday. Like we landed on Sunday, man, and like at the start, I don't know if you've seen it, at the start of the stream, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get you this time, Clive. That's it, you're fucked, mate. You are fucked. Like I had him good and proper. We found clips of him from come down, like the gang come down me, sounded like Clive, and then I took him out of context from a stream that he'd done recently, where he's like, oh, when I get drunk, I like men and all this fucking shit. Like, and then the laptop just mugged out. I was like, oh, fucking hell, man. Like, it was like 2 minutes of awkward silence. Oh, weird as fuck. I made a right tit of myself, though. But yeah, that wasn't a great performance. Anyway, back to fucking where I was. Like, so, share my screen. I don't even know. There we go. What the fuck are you doing now? Like, is it what you like? What or something like?
I'm lighting a cigarette.
All right, no bad job. Right, none of y'all laughing, pal. Right, none of that. Right, aye. So anyway, where was I? I was this was obviously in reference to them talking about 2-year-old trannies. It wrote, research suggests that children as young as 2 recognize their trans identity. LGBT inclusive and affirming education is crucial for the well-being of all young people. Yet many nurseries and schools teach a mate, can you like mute your mic or something if you're walking about, because that's quite
sorry about that.
No bother. Teach a binary understanding of pre-assigned gender. But this statement has been roundly criticised by a number of LGBT groups, including Tranny Trend and LGB Alliance, as it was labelled an extreme ideological belief. I wonder fucking why that might be. But what my question would be, and this kind of goes for any of these groups, irrespective of whether or not they've got an extreme ideological belief, why is the government talking, associating, funding, doing anything with any of these groups to begin with anyway? Oh, that's right, because our petri dish fucking bullcat-headed leader implemented it and enshrined it into law that schools across Scotland have to, by law, implement LGBT emphasis on the T education. So it just so happens you've opened Pandora's box. Therefore, I'm not fucking surprised, really, that you're working with grotesque organisations that would promote the idea of 2-year-olds knowing that they're a fucking transgender. But that's transphobic and misogynistic. Fuck off, you man. Anyway, it goes on about, because it talks about the funding the currency model, so to speak, where it says that the charity will receive, obviously, as taxpayers, this is coming from this bullcut. And there's a bit of projection here, I think, from Thin Lips. The reason that she's so hell-bent on that cash, that sweet, fat stack going into the pockets of charities such as this, is because she fucking with them. It'd be like Chewbacca giving, some Star I don't know where I was going with that. We'll just leave it at that. Eh? Okay. Anyway, right. Where the fuck did I get Chewbacca from? But anyway, a total of 317,000 in taxpayers cost between 2021 to 2024. This is in addition to the money it's already banked between 2015 to 2020, which is over 100k each year from grants and other payments. This does not include, however, the government's paying Stonewall 24 grand to be part of its Diversity Champions program. So this is fantastic stuff from the SNP. But on the flip side, though, this is a white pill, as I said, for England. It's just strange to me that up here in Scotland, our government is using taxpayers' money to fund what I've just spoken about, whereas down south, this story here, have you heard anything about this story at all?
Just briefly, like I said to you earlier, I just saw a few lines and I thought, fuck that, I'm not going to read the usual propagated woke shit. But
well, this is a white pill, though, this time around, though. So
yeah, anyway.
It would have done you good maybe to read it, because it's very, very fucking rare that, that you see stuff like this, because it's normally the trajectory, the direction of travel that we're all headed on. This is the sort of stuff that would be considered out of the ordinary. And yet here we are for the time being. I don't know if it's going to be a permanent moment in time or if it's just on a temporary basis, given the fact they're already speaking about all these fucking non-binaries and whatnot, getting very spiritual and lawsuits and shit. Don't you dare start with this crap, skip survey right now. So what the fuck? Wait a minute. You wee bastard. No, wait, it's fucking you little shit. I'm signed into the Herald usually, but since my computer's spurred out, I'm not signed in anymore. But it's fine because I should have the article on my Telegram. So I'll just have to do it this way now. I can't win. I cannot fucking win. I'm having problem after problem. But I'm just gonna have to read it out in small print. I do apologise for that, people in the chat, because you might not be able to see it very well. But it more or less says that the NHS in England is shutting down its gender identity clinic for children after the review found that it failed vulnerable under 18s. The gender identity service at Tavistock and Portman NHS Foundation Trust in London been ordered to close by next spring. It will be replaced by regional centres at existing children's hospitals offering more holistic care. The Tavistock Gender Identity Service Clinic has been accused of rushing children into life-altering treatment on puberty blockers. The Petri Edition, Dr. Hilary Cass, who's leading a review of the service, issued a series of recommendations today for a radical overhaul of how the NHS treats young people who are questioning their gender identity. Right, just to finish off a wee bit more. Sorry, don't you dare spurg out. Don't you fucking do that.
Right. Sorry. Sorry, Miss Cass, former president of the Royal College of Pediatricians and Child Hair Health, said the existing model of a solo provider for gender services should be scrapped as it's failed to meet the holistic needs of the distressed and vulnerable teenagers. Going on to say that the Tavistock should be replaced by regional centres with an appropriate multi-professional workforce to enable them to provide integrated model of care. Amid concerns that the clinic fails to take into account wider health problems before putting children on puberty blockers, Ms. Cass added, staff should maintain a broad clinical perspective in order to embed the care of children and young people with gender uncertainty. Right, and then obviously, as the article goes on and whatnot, the fact of the matter is that they were, as it says there, these clinics must have established academic and educational functions to monitor evidence on children who are put on hormone therapy, because as things stand, they were putting them on too early and they were far too young and they were getting thrown onto puberty blockers and whatnot, despite the fact there was little to no fucking grounds for justification for that to be the case. But lo and behold, as things stand now, this grotesque institution is coming to a close for the time being. So as I said, I genuinely think, in stark contrast to that in Scotland, with the shit I read out prior to that, this is a white pill way. I don't know if you're there. I can hear you, but
yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Alright, so now, holy fuck, man! Holy shit! Wait a minute, what the fuck's going on here? Jesus Christ, do you want to know what the fuck happened there, right? See on another tab, I've got StreamYard open on another tab because you see the laptop froze, right? So fucking what happened there was all the tabs reopened, but I went onto our chat to take the StreamYard link off you, where I'd sent you, opened that up in an additional tab. So anyway, when I stopped sharing my screen there, for whatever reason, it jumped to the StreamYard that was opened up before the laptop froze, and that popped my fucking face. Oh no, am I just being streaming with my face? And then I realised that I hadn't clicked in Enter Studio. Holy shit, man. Not saying that I'm not a fucking, anybody watching, they would have gone, fucking hell, he's a tanky boy, but no, I don't give a fuck, but that's not happening. 3 a.m, my mug's showing there, but I laugh, right? I can't, fucking hell.
In your defense, DJ, I actually looked away and I didn't see your handsome face. I'm sure it's not as bad as you think.
What do you mean? So was my face up? Wait a minute, so my
no,
face
I didn't see anything. No. At least you're not wearing glasses. I am, because I have to wear glasses.
What the fuck were the glasses like? Was my face live for every cunt to see, or was it just backstage?
No, it was nothing. I didn't even see it backstage either. Just your salt tire.
Well, that's all right. That's fucking hell, man. That taught me about glasses. You put me all wrong, man. Shut the fuck up. I don't have glasses for the record, but
no, I wear glasses. I need them for
reading. My face was like, hey, fuck's sake, man. Stop. Fuck off. Anyway. Hey, so my point, before I got distracted yet again, so that wee white pill there is you want to the fucking throw into the mix about the distraction of what can only be described as a grotesque Nazi sort of organization. I think that even the mere idea of puberty blockers for young individuals is just disgusting in and of itself. I don't care what people have to say on that front in the department of YouTube and their hate speech department crew, but I'm sorry, I think it's grotesque. So I just think that's a white pill to see the NHS shutting that shit down. Yeah, I totally agree, Paul. You there, eh?
Yeah, I'm here.
Right, no, it's fine. It's fine. All right, so I'm going to my saved messages now because there was other stuff that I fucking threw in there as well. But before I go into the drug stuff, which I think is horrible, by the way. But what have we got here? Glasgow, I don't know if you heard about that. This is just separate news for anybody that wasn't aware. Glasgow recently got voted. It's funny because the last time you were on a stream with me, we ended up talking about Glasgow and its litter and whatnot. Well, it's been named the dirtiest city in the fucking world.
Well, that's true. At least that's a truthful representation.
Well, but it's remarkable. If I can find where's my Telegram channel a second, right? Because it was hilarious how Sturgeon, this survey, it was more than just talking about, the cleanliness or lack thereof of a city or cities even, but it was questioning them on other things. So it was just remarkable. Wait till you see it. Caption. I need to type that in first quickly on my Telegram. There we go. So it is fucking brilliant. Sure, I'm fucking every time I come back up to this tab now, I'm terrified that you're like my face is gonna be there. I'm like, oh, that freaked me the fuck out. Like, share screen. I mean, I know there's still be some fucking weirdo out there, with the throbbing god rod wanting to see what I look like. Well, it's not happening.
Can I just quickly say something, DJ? I wouldn't show my face on a mainstream, but if you're ever up for a face-to-face chat, I have no problems with that. If you're ever.
Well, the fucking.
On private,
You fucking seen it for all I know. I still haven't figured that one out yet. Backstage, I don't fucking know. There was a bit of a mishap there. But that's
nothing, not even backstage. I didn't see anything.
No, I mean, it's like
you're all right.
Your tone of voice is changing that now. Like I could tell there's some sort of tension. You know how attractive I am. You've seen it. See this, right? My screen sharing. Where do you see this? So this is the first article, right? Glasgow was named the dirtiest city in the world in New Timer Readers Poll. A poll of 27,000 city dwellers from Melbourne to Madrid, Chicago to Copenhagen, and Tel Aviv to Tokyo. So our own current top was the dirtiest in the globe, followed by. No, sorry, I read that wrong. It was Glasgow's named third city, dirtiest city, right? New York second, Rome is the worst, Glasgow being the third. If you go at the photo from the same day, the same fucking day, I'm not joking you, right? Nicola Sturgeon writing in the SNP's website one of her daft articles where they still publicize the same stupid mugshot that she's been using since she was about 12. With her fucking, but anyway, her face is a lot more shriveled up since then. And it's like a fucking demon. The sun's no one being kind to her. But anyway, there's no reference whatsoever to the fact that Glasgow's a shithole in terms of litter and whatnot. Oh, no. It was brilliant to see Glasgow voted 4th best city to visit in the world last week. In an influential survey, the same influential survey that also simultaneously referred to Glasgow as fucking a shithole. But she doesn't mention that. No, instead she grandstands about, Glasgow's so influential. It even goes so far as to talk about it was voted friendly and nice. It's a nice place to be, and that's what you need to. It doesn't matter if there's rats everywhere and litter and shit and whatnot everywhere. It's fine because it's nice. It's a nice people, man.
On the same day, one article, rubbish is a city, and in the same breath, it's praising the city. They need to make up their mind.
Because it's the same fucking survey, I'm pretty sure. It's just,
I don't think it's done by it.
It's like that's what really fucking annoys me, and that's why I wanted to go on to that to then bring it to the drug thing because which came out just today, and that's because she did something similar, and she's not the only one. The news itself is sort of doing it now, right? And I need to come right to the bottom of my Telegram, roughly for that one. So what's happened, obviously, is the statistics for drug deaths in Scotland got released for 2021. But yet, quite a few of the articles that are coming out and Sturgeon herself, the way that they're talking about it, they're on about the fact that, like, it's drug deaths have declined. Like, they've declined from last year. Like, we're making progress, right? And if you read the fucking headline, like, some of the headlines that are coming out, you might agree with that. You might go yourself, oh my God, yeah, like, well done. Some of the things they're putting into practice, some of the methods they're putting into practice, they must be working because drug deaths are on the decline. Oh, no. No, fucking no. Well, I'll get to that. Here, right? So this was her tweet from earlier on. So it's the same principle applies as what that's why I brought it up. She picks and chooses which she'll speak about because Glasgow's a shithole, but it's fine because it's friendly, right? Same principle applies here, where she mentions the fact that every drag to death. Death to drug, is the loss of an individual who's loved and valued. So while it's welcome that deaths in 2021 were slightly down on a year before, we know there was much to do, right? No, they're slightly down. But what they don't, and here was another example of like just a different BBC article, right? But it was talking about the same thing. Many people will just read the headline and they won't really go any further into it. So it says Scotland's drug deaths total down for first time in 8 years. Now that makes it appear, at least temporarily, as if any of the things that they've claimed that they're going to put into place to reduce drug deaths in Scotland, they must finally be fucking working, and that's to be praised. That's the sort of takeaway I get from it, because they're picking and choosing. It's very selective. It says the number of people who died of drug misuse in Scotland dropped slightly, right? What they don't say, it does say in the article, just a wee bit further down the page, is the fact just because it declined by 9 deaths. 9 less people died, right? But it still makes it the second worst year for drug-related deaths on a Scottish record, right? Also, still hasn't changed the fact that we've got the most deaths in comparison to every nation across Europe. No mention of that. No, we'll pat ourselves in the back because 9 less people fucking died. I mean, I'm sorry, I think it's disgusting. It's absolutely grotesque that they would sit and try and distract from that fact and talk about, but some of what we're doing is working because 9 less people died. Like, I'm sorry. At what point are the government going to be held to account? Like, because if they're going to sit there and talk about the fact that that there's more to do and we'll continue to do what we're doing, you are then giving credence to the fact that if you don't do that, then you will be held to account. Well, I would make the argument that too much time has gone by. Nothing is fucking changing. The country's going to the shit. And that's not just talking about drug deaths, just in general. Like, I'm getting sick of them using this excuse to weasel out of it that, more needs to be done, while simultaneously distracting the public with backpacks, patting on the back, sorry, I should say, because 9 less people died. I'm sorry. Like, that's not fucking good enough, is it? In my opinion. I'll come on to it in a second, but like, have you got anything to add to that? Like, get this stuff up there.
No, I completely agree with you there. They're just avoiding the issue by talking about all the shit, trying to distract everybody. And people are so gullible and they're like, oh yeah, we need to do more. We need to do this, do that. Like yourself, I will say, fuck off, all of you, and smell the coffee and see that you're basically being shafted.
No, without a doubt. And I've got a good article here, right, from a drugs campaigner who actually pretty much butchers thin lips and like her trying to worm out of things like but I'll just say this as well. Most whites are unable to see vampires for what they are. They really the problem really is that a small insular clique that operates in a cohesive manner with the aim of taking down Western civilization. Are they? I think that's what they're getting out there, isn't it? I don't get on about it, but I will say though that I don't disagree. Obviously, my days on YouTube and whatnot, my name, for fuck's sake, Resisting the Lies. There was once upon a time where I wasn't the sort of conspiracy element of things, which leads you down specific rabbit holes inevitably. But I have, as I've got a bit older, I look around, like, for example, Scottish Parliament, and like, albeit they're getting their strings pulled, there's not a lot of wee hats in the Scottish Parliament. That's a bunch of Scottish traitors as well. So I don't agree with the principle that it's just wee hats. Like, no, it's not. But don't get me wrong. I know that they are a lot of the influence that happens with WEF, fucking the United Nations and whatnot. They're all come on the back of the richest of these families and bankers who happen to be wee hatted. But the likes of Thin Lips, she's not wee hat. You know what I mean? Papa, no, she's not wee hat. But anyway, so and I just lost a viewer for that. Somebody didn't like that. Sorry, it's the truth, man. But anyway, where is it? Scottish government slaves. No, that's what I just said. But it's fucking this one here. Drugs campaigner. I'm not even sharing the screen, am I? Fuck's sake. Oh, I've got my viewer back. He's repented. He's forgiven me. Just realised that I'm enough bigoted to stick a. I don't know. Probably a different one, to be fair. But it was just the timing there when I said that. This fucker just left. Fuck knows, man. But yeah, where is it? Aye. Drag's campaigner slaps down Thin Lips. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of videos, which, if that's the case, it'd be better to include instead of fucking reading out crap. But aye, so this campaigner slapped down Thin Lips, and the reason that she did so, hopefully I can see the video. Tweet loading, we might get a wee gander at it, that'd be better, like, but it doesn't seem to be doing its thing, sadly. Anyway, Thin Lips was asked her thoughts on the report, which is about the drugs deaths. Wait, there we go, right. Which one? One of the, let's see what she says first. Thin Lips, because as I say, this is a good takedown. I'm just going to reshare the screen and share my audio, like, but it's quite refreshing to see, because this woman seems to do what so many of our politicians, these wet wipes in Parliament, don't do. And that's call the SNP out. So it's refreshing to see, you know, from this woman here. So, and there we go. Right, so
I don't. Firstly, I think the report is very welcome, and the government will take forward its recommendations. Many of the themes covered by the recommendations.
Oh, you would yeah.
Being progressed, MAT standards and medication-assisted treatment standards, their implementation, the greater availability of naloxone, massively increased funding over the next years. I don't think it is the case that we haven't taken the drug misuse problem seriously, but there is no doubt Scotland has a significant challenge with drug misuse and with the number of lives that have been lost as a result of that. That's why I have appointed a dedicated minister in National Services to lead the response to this and to report directly to me. So there is a clear determination.
Bold, brave. And one of these recommendations, by the way, is safe rooms for consumption. So, you know, they're going to try the damnedest to turn Scotland and fucking California, but then this should be the woman responding to it, I believe, possibly. She should be in this article, but let's see this quickly. Sorry. This might not make sense to people until you hear the response, but
do you see this as something that we should be doing for the long term? It fits with the vision for general practice as being, you know, a place where different professionals, whether that's mental health workers, pharmacists, welfare advisors, are all there under the same roof to help provide a holistic service for patients, to address some of the underlying causes of health problems as well as the symptoms, and also help to relieve some of the workload on GPs themselves. And that is the general vision for general practice, but given the pressures that people are facing today.
And where's the woman now? She gets slapped down. There she is.
With this, of course, and the cost of living crisis, services like this are ever.
2 minutes fucking long though, right? So just for anybody that didn't really understand what the health Thin Lips was saying, I don't really know what the volume was like, but she was, if I remember rightly, she goes on to talk about funding and talks about all the things that are being put into place, such as the greater availability of naloxone, whatever the fuck that is, massively increased funding over the years. Many of the themes covered by the recommendations have already been progressed. Like, she makes all these claims, and this woman just kind of like slaps her down. Like, so it's quite amusing. But the reason I'm bringing all of this up is because it does obviously come in the wake of the drug deaths that were announced. And as I said, it made for pretty grim reading. Like, I don't really care about the every life. It wouldn't matter if it was 2 people that died or 442 people or whatever the case may be. And I'm not making light of the fact or fun of the fact that they're trying to insist that 9 less people dying is a good thing, and I'm ridiculing that. No, that's not what I'm doing at all. But I think it's absolutely abhorrent that they would try their damnedest to deviate away from the fact that there's still such a large proportion of people in this country that feel, even without taking the death into consideration first and foremost, when they feel the need to resort to these substances in the first place, products of their environment in many respects, mental health issue, is rife quite clearly, whatever the case may be. Each individual case is different. But instead of that, we need to pat ourselves on the fucking back because 9 less of them have passed away. And I'm sorry, there's like a fundamental issue that's not been addressed. But anyway, sorry. So this is here. Unless you've got anything to say to that, like, I mean, I realize that, like, I'm kind of, I know it's like my stream, but I'm hijacking it a bit here. You know, fire on with anything you've got to say, like anything to say about like drugs and whatnot, like.
Well, all I've got one word to say to anything that boot says: vomit. That's all I say.
Well, yeah.
Oh boy, grates me.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you though, like, where you're from, like, is drugs and whatnot, like, is it an issue, an issue here? I'm pretty sure it says in the statistics from what I recall, it breaks it all down in terms of like which areas of Scotland is worse and where it's less. I think it said Dundee was the worst, but Inverness not as bad for drugs per se. I know, I mean, there is quite a lot of junkies and whatnot here and stuff, but it's more the suicide stuff up here. Like, there's a lot of people commit suicide from Inverness in the surrounding area. Like, mental health's a serious issue up here, but I don't know. Really.
I think it's probably because of the isolation up north. But what I will say, DJ, I think Glasgow, being the largest city in Scotland, there's bound to be more drug problems around here. I certainly see a lot of junkies in the main streets of Glasgow, and I'm now starting to see needles again, which disappeared for a while, but now they're just lying around the street, and it really is. And it's like back to the days when I first came to this country, used to see needles next to bins, next to the Wellington statue, and now it's come back again. And as they say, now the city is the filthiest. I would say it's one of certainly the most disgusting now, and there's the risk now of hepatitis and other diseases from anybody who touches any of those needles or bumps it with a sandal, because there's a lot of sandal wearers now. And so I just see it's only a matter of time before all these other issues start coming again. But Glasgow certainly has the biggest drug problem, I would say.
I'm pretty sure it's Dundee, believe it or not. I will pull up the statistics after I play a bit of this, like, but I was speaking to Scott Salmon earlier on the phone, and he would have been perfect for this segment purely on the basis of he knows people that work in these sort of industries when it comes to like links to the council and stuff. And he went on like a bit of a tangent today in terms of all these different descriptive points of flaws with the system in Glasgow and places like the bin men, even things along the lines of, if I remember rightly, like when stuff clutter outside, but like if you write down and describe what they're supposed to be picking up, even slightly wrong, they won't bother their arse. I mean, the letter is an issue and whatnot, and but I also as well, though, I probably shouldn't refer to these individuals as junkies because I've had my past, we've all got past, like, and but I just think that it's they're products of their environment. I'm not making excuses for each and individual one, but I think it's sort of indicative of the failures of our society. I'm not saying that the
failures of the SNP government, not us directly, it's the government.
Well, if they've taken it upon themselves to claim that they're going to improve not just drug deaths and whatnot, but if they're going to improve society as a whole, it's quite clear that they're failing in that respect. But I understand. It's like I don't also blame them completely in the sense that it's not up to them to mother people back to fucking health. But these people, or as many people as currently do, wouldn't feel the way that they do in terms of whatever it is that's affecting their life or holding them back and whatnot, causes the issues that they face, mental health wise speaking, and whatnot. Like, that's society, and it's a fucking failure of society. If life was how it was fucking before it started to crumble, shall we say, then I think there'd be a lot less of these issues occurring.
I would say so.
Across the pond, homelessness, alcohol deaths, drink, suicide, etc., etc. Like the whole shebang, not just drugs, but
the whole shebang. And it's not just needles I'm now seeing lying around the street. It's broken beer bottles, even shit. But I don't think it's animal shit. It's humans. People just take a shit at any corner, probably coming out of pubs or clubs. But the city really is literally a shithole.
I shouldn't Spanish Scots are actually mentioned people taking jobbies on the street today on the phone. So
human jobbies everywhere.
That's fucked, man. Right.
First Minister, in response to what you've just said, the MAT standards have already been declared a catastrophic failure by Public Health Scotland. And even we knew they were going to be in the beginning anyway, because they were the poor man's version of guidance that already exists, i.e. the Orange Book and the NICE guidelines, which are the MAT standards on steroids. The second point you make is about, our so-called world-leading naloxone programme. Well, over 90% of people are dying on their own, so they can't self-administer naloxone. I think 70% or over 70% have got benzodiazepines in their system as well, which naloxone doesn't touch. So, unfortunately, your world-leading naloxone programme is also nothing more than a political red herring, despite the organisation and mobilisation of peer workers to promote it.
It does go on a bit longer, but my point, she just, everything that started off by stating in the clips we played earlier on, she just blew it in the fucking water. It should be her job to do that. The media should be holding her account. Or I would go a step further than that. The likes of Sturgeon shouldn't be able to stand there and grandstand and make claims that can be debunked. They're supposed to have media teams around them. They shouldn't be able to just lie like that. But hey-ho, I was impressed with that woman. But that does lead me on to this, which is kind of the core purpose for why I really wanted to make this video, the stream tonight. And it was, as I said, the drug-related deaths. I'm not going to go through the entirety of the report, but it's just interesting because it gives you a bit of a breakdown in terms of areas and the demographics, etc. So, as in total, if I remember rightly, in 2021, I'll just put this a bit bigger. In 2021, in Scotland, there were 1,330 deaths due to drug misuse in Scotland. This is 9 fewer than in 2020. This makes 2021 the first year since 2013 where drug misuse deaths have not increased. It's still the second highest annual total on record. So that's the point that I was on about earlier that's irritating me. Instead of fucking patting yourself on the back because, we finally achieved something. It's not increased like it has every other year. We're making improvements. No, you're not. That's fucking shameful that it's still as high as it is. And as I said, it's not like the government can mother everybody back to health, but they're the ones themselves that made claims that they were going to sort this out. And they quite clearly have failed, So that's what needs to be focused on, as opposed to everybody talking about, it's not as bad as it was last year type of thing, right? And people aged 35 to 44 were most likely to die from drug misuse. Drug misuse deaths have increased in recent years in all age groups except 15 to 24, with 65% of drug misuse deaths being of people aged between 35 to 54. And more than 2/3 of those who died were male, right? And despite that fact, one of the articles that I posted on Telegram from the Scottish Government's own website, the woman who's in charge of the drugs, that section of the government, the drugs policy minister, whatever, she's more concerned with the women that have died, as opposed to the fact that most of the people that are dying annually are fucking men. So, standard procedures is nuts, But yeah, as I say, I'll keep going down a bit here because it gives you a bit of a breakdown. So we've got in 2021, well, I've read that one. Deaths have increased substantially over the past few decades. There were more than 5 times as many deaths in 2021 compared with 1996. 2021 is the first year since 2013 that drug misuse deaths have not increased. The average age of drug misuse deaths, has increased from 32 to 44. 2021, 65% of all drug misuse deaths were of people aged 35 to 54, as I've already stated. In 2021, after adjusting for age, people in the 20% most deprived areas were more than 15 times as likely to have a drug misuse death as those in the 20% least deprived areas. And the ratio has widened over the past 2 decades.
After adjusting for age, Greater Glasgow and Clyde had the highest drug misuse. Well, there you go. You were right. I thought it was Dundee, my mistake. Death rate of all health boards across area. That's per capita. Followed by Ayrshire and Arran to then Tayside. Then Greater Glasgow and Clyde had the largest increase as well as in its drug misuse death rate from 8.9 per 100,000 in the period of 2000 to 2004. Dundee. Well, actually, no, I was right. You were wrong. Get it up, you. Dundee City. That's what I was on about. Had the highest age standardised drug misuse death rate of all local authorities. Dundee City had the largest increase in its drug misuse death rate as well, 5.9 per 100,000. Then it followed by Glasgow and Inverclyde. I might speak to John Davison about that when I go on a stream with him. I didn't realise it was an issue. It is a big an issue there as well. You don't really hear much about Inverclyde in the grand scheme of things. In 93% of all drug misuse deaths, more than one drug was found to be present. All of drug misuse deaths, 84% involved opiates or opioids, such as heroin, morphine, and methadone. 69% involved benzodiazepine. And just to conclude, in recent years, there's been a large increase in the number of drug misuse deaths involving benzodiazepines. In 2015, there were 191 of these deaths, and in 2021, there were 918. What a fucking spike. What a spike that is. 2015, 191. And in 2021, there was 918, almost 5 times as many. This increase has mostly been driven by street drugs rather than those which are prescribed. And then obviously in 2020, the most recent year available for the rest of the UK, Scotland's drug misuse rate was 3.7 times that for the UK as a whole and higher than that of any European country. I'm sorry, that is fucking abhorrent, man. That is absolutely shameful. Absolutely shameful. And it's, as I say, it's not a case of just berating the people within this country, but even though it's them themselves that have to take a semblance of responsibility for what they consume and put into their own body. But as I say, to a certain extent, it's products of their environment, and I think it says a lot about our society, quite frankly. This shouldn't be happening anywhere across fucking the Western world, but I believe wholeheartedly, and it's maybe it's biased when I say this, shouldn't be happening in fucking Scotland. Like, you know, I know they make jokes of stereotypes that we're all a bunch of tight-fisted alky bastards and whatnot, but that's just sad shit. Like, that really is sad to read. It's, as I said, the whole fucking report's like that, but I'm not going to read the entirety of it. But yeah, what do you make of that? Like,
it doesn't, as what I was saying, it's just there's them themselves that need to elevate themselves out of that. But if there's no hope and there's not the right services provided, then how the hell are people expected to get out of drug addiction? And Sturgeon just praising everything as, oh, we're so good, we're this. Yeah, well, I just see a failing in society, letting the most vulnerable people down.
No, without a doubt. There was recommendations that came out. That's what she was talking about in the 2 videos that I played at the start. Admittedly, I should have had that pulled up as well. That was from the start of last week, but I can't remember them off the cuff. But as I say, it was like stupid shit. Like, funding's one thing, obviously. Like, nobody's like gonna to say that more funding isn't required, but it's this nonsense about, oh well, if they just had rooms to shoot up in, then this would be happening. I'm sorry, like that's not. In my view, that's not right. That's not the fucking direction of the travel we should be headed.
Exactly. And that's just encouraging them to continue instead of motivating them to get off the bloody stuff.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I'm just going to have a wee look at the chart, see if there's anybody there, if they've got anything to say on this. Like, because I noticed there is, well, Shinobi the Bobby, he's a Scot, like, something interesting to say, like, if you've got anything to add to that. This guy, let's see.
Well, I agree with what Shinobi says. The cops are more interested in policing people's opinions and thoughts online than they are with dealing with the real crimes out on the street. Yeah. I agree with that.
No, so do I. And I also agree with this comment as well. Admittedly, I'm not a Christian, but I do believe that you can definitely say that with that declining as a whole in society, even myself growing up in school and that, like, nobody really took any of that stuff seriously, and it wasn't really promoted in school, and it kind of showed itself for what it was when we reached our teenage years. Like, models, fuck Windows, just put it that way, man. You know, and I think that's like as cliche as it might be to say, that like the old way of life, that, you know, obviously it's not exactly a hot take, the purpose of life, whether you fucking agree with it or not, about every other animal and whatnot, it's to breed and whatnot, and it's the same thing for humans. Like, it's you're a life, and then you create life, and life goes on, type of thing. But so with that comes the desires to want to settle down and shit, and I think even that in and of itself, the sort of destruction of what was once considered the family unit, and whatnot, that kind of being fractured across society, less and less.
Left, right, and centre.
Yeah, you know, feminism obviously played a fucking pivotal role in that, and career-driven women and shit like that. And I mean, I'm not one of these people that women should be in the kitchen, but I'm just meaning that people are settling down a lot later in life, and then you've got sort of sexualization in society as well. Like, people are just, they care more about a Tinder swipe as opposed to settling down with any sort of monogamous goals and whatnot. So I think all these things, like, as I say, each individual case should be different. You know, one guy who's got drug issues is different to somebody else who might have the same thing, but the fact that it's increasing, albeit like currently it's on the decline by 9 deaths, but mental health is a fucking major issue. Suicides, as I say, in the Highlands especially, alcohol, homelessness, boys failing in school, failing high school, whatnot. Like, all these things, I don't know, man. It's a multifaceted issue, obviously, but it's not going to be solved by just simply shooting rooms to shoot up and piss at that. Quite clearly, whatever they claim they're doing to solve the problem isn't working. And they have to hold their hands up and admit they failed, but they won't do that.
Well, they'll never do that, because then they would have to admit they've been talking shit all along.
No, but one of the other things they talk about as well is like if they just legalize all these drugs. It's like, and I know they did that in like Portugal or something. They've legalized all these drugs, and I mean, I don't know. I've had these arguments. In fact, me and Scott's Armour had it on a stream with people in the chat before, and they were saying things that did make sense, but I don't know. I can't say that for certain that they're right or wrong in that respect. But I think the SNP have got a real issue with coming away with all these suggestions and using it as a means as an excuse, because like, this would work, but we can't do it. That's why everything's failing, type of thing. It's like, well, until such a time emerges where you can implement these fucking delusional, in my opinion, policies, you've got to be trying something else. But instead of that, they just wash their hands of it and go, well, we want to do this, but the UK government won't let us have rooms for people to shoot up in. That's why people are dying. Like, no. Like, crack is the upcoming drug in Glasgow. It's cheap and available.
That's very true. Can I just add, DJ, the thing is, people have been dying of drug addiction since long before the devolution ever happened. In fact, I believe it's been going since the 60s and the 70s when heroin started to become available. So this all predates devolved parliament. So Sturgeon is talking through her ass, as usual, and blaming Westminster in the process for everything.
And the procedure there, like, but no, you're not wrong, man. I mean, I do think though the fact that it's getting worse kind of goes to show that, like, it's like when you compare and contrast the fact that as the years have gone by and we're becoming more and more progressive and things are so much better according to these individuals, but yet simultaneously these issues are getting fucking worse. You know, so it's like, wake up and smell the coffee type of thing. Like, maybe, just maybe, it may be not allowed to suggest that the direction of travel that society's headed in is partly to blame or responsible for why there's a rise in people with all these different issues. Like, I don't know.
It's because it's a free-for-all society. And in fact, talking of these progressives who think their ways are the best, I actually had an argument online with an American couple recently. It ended with me telling them to go fuck themselves. They were essentially saying they're all for free speech, but they don't like people using derogatory language or deliberately hurting people's feelings in an exchange of ideas. And they're not supposed to make racist comments. So basically I said, so in other words, you only believe in free speech when it all agrees with you. They denied, of course. And I said, so what's your problem with me? Oh, you're using the N-word. I said, yeah, well, it's in context. I'm not using it as a direct insult to anybody. And then they said, yeah, we still don't like it. I said, no, you know what your problem is, Snowflake? You were born in 2001. You have lived a life of all this woke, progressive, brainwashing BS. So you don't know anything. And as far as I'm concerned, you're just a simp, just agreeing with your Karen girlfriend so that you can get your nookie. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, I know. Sorry, a bit of a rant there, but they made out. Oh, you know what they said? We will report you to the police. I said, go tell whoever. I don't care. You'll need to find me if you break through my VPN, which I very much doubt you will. So good luck.
I mean, do they have an issue with saying the N-word, or what? They don't have an issue with being Karen.
You know, all it was. I was telling them a story about an American guy I met in Glasgow who just said, hey, how do you deal with all the N? And he said the N-word. I said, whoa, mate, easy with that word, Tiger. We're in a public place. He said, why? In Alabama, we say that all the time. I said, yeah, well, they say in Alabama, so let's just not say it. Oh. And they got all stuffy. They said, you used a racist word. How dare you? And I'm like, oh, whatever, Karen. Beta simp, I called him. I think I hurt his feelings because I think the truth is he has to agree with the girlfriend. Otherwise, he doesn't get his nookie. Yeah, you're a pair of twat.
Is that what you call it down there? Like, nookie, man. Fucking hell.
Nookie. Well, I think he knows what I mean. And he got.
I know.
And he went, no, that's not the case. I went, I think it is, mate. You're just a feminized male with no balls. And I said, your girlfriend is a Karen. Or I know I pissed him off, but I don't care. I blocked him anyway.
It's like what you said. It's the same as those dickheads that say, well, like, they're following free speech, but it doesn't mean it's free of consequence. Oh, fuck off! Like,
these are the assholes that think they can tell you what you can and cannot say. I will not be lectured by someone more than half my age, especially someone born after 2000. No, thank you. Millennials can go and take a dive off a short cliff, preferably. Yeah.
I'm just reading this comment as well. Like, don't get me wrong. I kind of don't know if I'll admit if I haven't read that. I'll be lying if I said I had, but I don't know if that comment's now implying that, like, I'm using common talking points. I'm not. I'm just meaning that, like when I did the stream last, not with Woodland, but the one prior to that, there was a skating in Inverness where somebody jumped. Well, it's believed somebody jumped off the bridge, and it's like not the first time somebody's jumped off the bridge in Inverness. I knew a boy that did it when I was younger. I've known a few boys over the years that have killed themselves. I wasn't like personally friends with them, but I knew them, and I've known a lot of people that have died to drugs overdoses and stuff. Wow, and they're all young guys. You know what I mean? One of the guys in question, following up, was called DJ. I don't know if Stone Garuda is still in the chat, but if he is, he'll know what I'm talking about. He was up here, but his comment was, my name's not DJ. I imagine my shot because Paul Joseph Watson would say, but there was a guy who was called DJ in Inverness who died. He killed himself. And everybody thought it was fucking me, yeah. Like, genuinely, people thought it was me. So, like, it's just, it happens all the time. So, I just, like, I wanted to talk about it, but I wanted to see if there was a body that was going to be found or whatever. And as it stands, there was a body found in Nairn, but I don't know if it's linked to the bridge incident and stuff. But I've gone through, like, shit myself in the past, and I was going to at some point talk about it, but as it stood anyway, I spurred out on Sunday because of people in the chat. I thought we're talking about me when I was kind of going through the same sort of stuff I'm talking about the now. So that's why I had my wee spurger on Sunday, I guess. But yeah, so everything comes full circle. Then there you go, yeah. Yeah. He was Donald John McPhee, yeah, Donald John McPhee. He was a lot older than me, like maybe 5-6 years older than me, but like everybody used to be scared of him, and it was just a total shock that he did that. Like, he was a fucking scary guy back in the day.
and just sad, really. But aye, DJ Toxberg, no, like just fucking no. To be fair, like I could have got away with it completely. Like but I was just in the chat. I was like, you fucks, like my fuck, people were talking shit. Anyway, so I've got stuff. Should still have stuff saved in my save folder, as well as there's a few other tabs I've got open. I'll just see what I've put in there, see what comes up. Like, I've got my this shit here. Yeah, here we go. Right, so this is the S&P. Like, so I mean, you've heard me talking about good global citizenship before. I mean, I'm getting fucking sick of this crap. Global citizenship in and of itself, the concept. How's it going, my man? Another Scot. What the fuck is it with all the Scots happening? Like, I mean, we've just been talking about drugs and drug misuse and whatnot. Like, it's just something going on here. Like, you guys,
we're all disenfranchised. We're all frustrated. That's why.
Everybody's up in the fucking gear. Like, that's what's going on here.
And we're all good. And we're all good citizenship.
It's not even fucking Friday night. I mean, Jesus. Whatever, man. Well, it is what it is. But don't sweat. Yeah, nobody was listening to that. Well, to be fair, I didn't get a fucking word in anyway, so it's all good. Scott Summer, like he knew I was there for about like 10 minutes. And William was in the chat and he was like, "Oh, DJ, great input." And then Scott told me, "Yeah, better let DJ speak." Thanks for that, buddy. But anyway, so. Hey, screw the globalists. Oh, well, you're going to enjoy this, right? So this is the S&P. Again, Priority 101. Now, a point that's been made before by a guy we've had on stream before, Scott Webb, and and I've kind of taken that phrase off him. It's like, who voted for this, like, type of thing? I mean, I don't vote anyway, right? But I would love to have these conversations with people at the S&P, like, that vote for them and stuff. Like, did you vote for this, or did you vote for independence, type of thing, right? So this came out on Twitter last week, right? So Global Justice Scotland, very welcome to see Chris Law's paper on international development with commitments to decolonise development, global health, champion more finance for climate justice, and carry out their manifesto commitment to adopt a feminist foreign policy. I mean, it's fucking embarrassing, but it gets so much worse. I mean, yes, there's an argument to be made. It's just buzzwords, effectively, and you're no wrong, really, to say that. But at the same time, it's not just that. So it says here, how an independent Scotland could approach aid spending differently. So this is the Foreign Affairs team. And obviously, because it's on Telegram, the writing's a wee bit small, so I won't read out all of this. And apologies if you can't see it properly, but just it says that, I'll read this bit here. The S&P is committed to ensuring that Scotland continues to be a good global citizen, working in partnership with others across the world to address global challenges that can only be tackled collectively. We are committed to achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for peace and prosperity for people and planets. And we recognize the issues such as global poverty and inequality, ongoing and future humanitarian crises, and the evolving non-existent man-made climate emergency that only exists because we've manipulated it and pretend that there's a climate emergency so we can push for green policies and make us all eat fucking beetroot and bugs. With no public transportation. I'm vindicated again, may I add, because Clarence Schwab, Dr. Schwabby boy, with his micro penis. And I think that's why he's got a grudge against the world. Just look at him. He strikes me as a guy that has what can only be considered an acorn penis. Anyway, the point being to that is that he's come out now with the WEF talking about the need to get rid of private transportation. I've been saying that for quite a while on my channel. It's not like it's a hot take, but I'm just saying you pay enough attention to the literature that's coming out from the S&P, or if you're in England, whatever dickhead writes your literature, I don't know who the fuck does it. They talked about it. Now the WF are talking about it. Anyway, so climate emergency will not be overcome by nations working alone and in their own self-interest. So just to rephrase that last sentence again, the evolving climate emergency will not be overcome by nations working alone and in their own self-interest. So again, it's kind of harkening to the concept that
We can't be nationalistic. We can't have individual nations. We all need to come together on the so-called, in this case, maybe a global stage of sorts, European Union capacity, or maybe a wider sense, interdependence as opposed to independence. So again, we can't act in our own self-interest. We need to do what's right for the betterment of the planet, apparently. It goes on to talk about the COOF, etc. And then it says down here, this paragraph I'll read, now more than ever, the international community, so again, this is instead of individual nations working in their own self-interests, etc., it's international community, globalism at its finest, should be redoubling efforts to face these challenges, providing the resources required to play an active role in alleviating global poverty and striving to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. We should be stepping up, not stepping away. So again, I've rehashed this about 3 times in a row now, but again, it's just constantly indicating that the direction of travel is coming together, closer together, as close as possible, interdependence. We can't be acting in self-isolation, self-interest, nationalistic tendencies. That has to fuck off, because it's one step closer to the overall goal of all of this when it comes to the Sustainable Development Agenda, and that is the eradication of not only your national sovereignty and your national identity, but your nation state itself, for the greater good, of course, because of my climate change. My climate's it's always changing, but we need to pretend all of a sudden it's man-made in order to justify this bullshit, this fucking cancerous bullshit. That he is here. I mean, he looks like a proper Chad, as you can see. I won't read it much more, don't worry. But he goes on to say that the reduction in spending, over 4 billion has been wiped from the aid budget, cut nearly 1/3 compared to the previous year. Life-saving programs focused on healthcare, climate, conflict, nutrition have faced cuts. Countries facing some of the worst humanitarian crises, such as Bangladesh, Ethiopia, Yemen, they've all seen cuts, etc. I'm not disputing that you can't put money in place at a specific date to help these nations, but at the end of the day, I've lost count for how many years these nations have been given funding. It's not a fucking problem if it's not reached where it's supposed to, or was intended to reach. And at what point do we become more accustomed to the mantra of charity begins at home, But it goes on to talk about the Climate Justice Fund, which is redistribution of Scotland's wealth, first nation in the world to sign ourselves up to that, by the way, courtesy of Nicola Sturgeon. Go fucking figure. So yeah, global citizenship, of feminist foreign policy, and sustainable development. Or the Sustainable Development Regime, I should say. It goes on to talk about decolonizing. I mean, all these buzzwords, man. Gender equality for women and the girls. They want to increase more spending for programs that have gender equality as their main objective for countries in other parts of the world. Why? Because as it says there, Goal 5, Sustainable Development Goal 5 is gender equality. So every single thing, my point to conclude this is, every single fucking thing, albeit, yes, it's a buzzword salad in many respects, but there's a larger problem at play here, and that is that every single policy, every single thing that not just Scotland, but in this instance Scotland, does or intends to do, derives from these goals. And this is my point. I'd love to speak to somebody from the SNP and figure out, did you vote for that? Do you even know these goals exist? Do you know the true purpose of these goals? Do you know the long-term consequences of if we continue down this path? Have you thought that far in the future? Or are you too busy salivating over the prospect of having our metaphorical country's butts cheek spread to bureaucrats, so to speak, my independence? I don't know. But it really does irritate me how little attention seems to be pointed in the direction of the World Economic Forum, Agenda 2030, or the United Nations in and of itself, and we focus far too much on independence, which is really fucking annoying me. But yeah, so I know I rambled there, but anything to say on all that shit, like some of those words? The Sustainable Development Goals are my favourite. Are fantastic words to say. Slips off the tongue.
Well, as you just said, DJ, they're all buzzword salads, and I mean, it's just that's so predictable, and you just go blah, 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 whenever you hear these assholes flapping their gums. I mean, that's what I think. I just go, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I just think it's the same shit, and I just switch off whenever they start flapping. Yeah.
Well, no,
Yep.
I do agree that a lot of it's buzzwords and it's easy to switch off that, but I think that's what I was saying. There's a larger problem at play here, and it's like,
of course,
you look beneath
undoubtedly,
the surface, so to speak, and it's like it's not even a conspiratorial hot take from myself. I mean, these are things that are spoken about on the Scottish Government's own website. You know?
Oh, I know.
Nothing they do is organic at all, and this is a point I've been trying to stress for ages. It's like I call them puppets for a reason. Like they are puppets because they're implementing goals that not only did none of us fucking vote for, but none of us continue to vote for, even for the people that do vote.
Yeah.
Every single policy derived from these goals. Every single one. You know?
And all these goals are detrimental to the vast majority of people in this country, but they still plunder on and they don't give a damn, because the end result, the grand scheme of everything is always more important than what the people want. Yeah.
No, I totally agree, good. 2 seconds. He's away to Sleepy bye for Stevie Cray, Stevie Pie, Sleepy bye.
To be honest, DJ, I'm getting that way myself. I'm getting very sleepy, but I am keeping up with you as long as I can.
I mean, if you bag it off, like I've got a couple of things that I can kind of cover myself. Like, I mean,
I can stay around for a bit. I'll let you know. I should be good for another half hour.
I probably wouldn't even be that, to be fair.
Okay.
I'm just having a wee look at my tabs and stuff, because as I say, I covered so much stuff on my Telegram channel that I just want to get some of it out, because I can't be certain I'll be fit and healthy tomorrow because I'm a sleeping partner at the moment. So and there's streams on obviously tomorrow, Bonnie lad, and I don't want to clash with people, so I'd rather just get it done now, which it would have been done a lot fucking sooner, but I didn't want to clash with Ayatollah, and the cunt went on for about 94 hours. So fucking hell. I waited patiently though, but no, I was under the impression, as I said, that I was going to pinch any of his viewers. I just didn't want to look like a dick and go live when he was live. But I'm just thinking there's one more thing I'll talk about, and that's Edinburgh quickly, and that is that they have decided, or the Scottish Government have, I should say, decided to fund a fucking ferry. Well, you'll see yourself. I'll share the screen quickly. Everybody's away really now. 11 people still watching. That's not bad going, like. Right, share the screen one last time, folks, and then we will go. Share audio. Don't need to share audio, whatever. Here we go. So, council leaders in Edinburgh have warned, because it gets worse than that. Like, it wasn't even a discussion about this taking place. It was announced to them that it will be taking place. So obviously this is the boat in question, and this boat exists for one purpose, and that is to house Ukrainians. They're just dumping array Ukrainians on a boat in an area of Edinburgh, and they're not having any facts whatsoever for whether or not this is going to cause problems for school capacities and whatnot. And this is obviously the purpose of these articles and whatnot. Council leaders are complaining about it. But my laptop's been a spurg again, by the way, so better not happen again what happened earlier. But the leader of Edinburgh Council has warned that public services, including schools, could be overwhelmed when Ukrainian refugees move to a cruise ship in Leith. Scottish Government chartered ferry, we'll just call it, can house up to 2,000, although it's expected to hold far less for the time being. Council staff and senior leaders are worried that they will not be able to cope with the surge of services required for new residents. There's it spurging out again. The cruise ship docked in Leith 2 weeks ago. Jesus Christ, fucking it's the ads, I think, a blocker on this. The cruise ship docked in Leith 2 weeks ago. Housed up to 2,500 refugees who have fled. It's understood that the local authorities were informed rather than consulted about the decision to base the vessel in the area. With the Daily Record reporting that the council's leader, Kami Day, said there was currently no solution to many of the problems, including school places, stressing that dedicated staff are working extremely hard to help all those who need assistance, but there was no extra resources to cover the additional workloads
The Labour councillor said, in terms of the support services for people who have come from a war zone, the requirement for job and schooling for young people needs urgent attention that they've not really had per se. So obviously, this is creating a bit of a fucking problem in the area. A source with knowledge of the operation to house the refugees said there had been problems with staff visas for some working on the Victoria or the Vest, whatever. They arrived in Scotland last weekend, but did not have the appropriate clearance, with the Home Office issuing visa waivers for the staff 5 days after their arrival. But no refugees have been housed in the vessel as of yet. By the time when this was printed, there has been since, I'm pretty sure. But my point really to all of this is not only is that just totally ludicrous to dump this boat in the area without taking into consideration the fact that school placements, etc., need to be taken into consideration. But on top of that as well, the most abhorrent thing that I find about this, and I've said this on so many different streams pertaining to similar things when it comes to the way, how the lengths they will go to accommodate so-called refugees and whatnot. And I say so-called because I didn't know that Ukrainians could be black. But however, my point being, I don't see them going out of their way to help homeless in Scotland the way that they can house, they can renovate whole tower fucking blocks that have laid dormant for years for refugees, but they don't do it for the homeless. They can get boats out of nowhere and fund boats out of nowhere and have people that work on said boats to cater for people, but they didn't do that for the homeless. And I suppose that could go full circle just to sort of conclude tonight's stream in the sense that they can go out of their way, go to such lengths for the greater good for people from other parts of the world. But they won't do it for the homeless. They won't do it for people with drug issues and whatnot. They won't go to such lengths for that, And I find that remarkable. It really does go to show that they have the capability if they wanted to, but they don't fucking want to.
And you know what else, DJ? The people that keep voting the SNP, they still don't see that they're being shafted left, right, and centre by this so-called nationalist party who doesn't put his own people first. It puts everybody, Abdulli Dul and all these other people before the Scots. In fact, they get more given to them than the native Scots, and that boils my blood. So yeah. But you can't get through to these idiots. You really can't. I have tried, and I've been called all sorts. And it's just waste of time.
No, I totally agree. Yeah.
And what's it going to take before they finally open their eyes and see the penny drop? When Scotland is 90% BAME, and then when their daughters and their mothers are being targeted in the street, I think they will still make excuses that, it just takes time. They need to integrate. Yeah. They can make all the excuses they want, but they are going to be the first against the wall, and it will be another Lebanon, and still they would make excuses right to the last minute. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it pisses me off.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. Like, where it just seems...
Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing, I'll just quickly add there. These refugees from Ukraine, I've concluded they're not refugees anymore. They've crossed multiple safe countries already in their path. So now they're just economic migrants and chancers. Let's be honest.
I would say the same. I mean, a lot of them are supposed to just be here on a temporary basis and whatnot, which is, I thought that's...
Now they're staying permanent. Anyway, a lot of them are.
Now they're supposed to be staying here permanently and whatnot. And
in my local supermarket, there's a guy working one of the checkouts, and he's Ukrainian. Yeah, now there's a surprise. He's clearly not here temporarily. He is going to stay here. Mm. I will say one thing. He does speak good English, and he seems to be friendly with everybody. But my point is, they're getting all these jobs that should be given to Scottish people priority.
Exactly. Yeah, charity. That's what I'm saying. Charity begins at fucking home.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, they can go out of their way to do these things for people that they brandish as refugees, irrespective of the legitimacy of the claim. But when it comes to their own, they have the capability. They just don't do it.
Absolutely.
And that's what strikes me as somewhat perplexing in many respects.
It really is preposterous.
As well, before we do bug it off, that when it comes to Scotland as well as Wales, the government did this, obviously, the sponsorship scheme. They took it upon themselves to, as a whole country, Scotland and Wales, respectively, sponsor them as a whole. And so that's why we had such an exponential amount of them here,
with nowhere to fucking put them. Whereas the original plan that Westminster put forward was that they wouldn't be allowed into the country until they'd found somewhere for them to go, like a house that would sponsor, a home where they were sponsored. Whereas
like
here,
sponsor,
we were sponsoring them, and then we would place them somewhere. So that could effectively mean they'd be lumbered in the boat or in hotels or whatever it may be, for months potentially, which is relatively unfucking feasible in the grand scheme of things. But that's the reality of Scotland at the moment. But
it's only going to get a lot worse, DJ. It's not going to improve anytime soon.
Well, I think the major problem that I've always had with the way that they bent backwards for the refugees from Ukraine was that it was sort of obvious that they were doing that, and they were giving them preferential treatment over BAMEs, and now all of the sort of BAME campaigners, even the likes of Hamza Yusuf, etc., are pointing out, and they kind of got a point. I'm not saying that I agree with it, and for their reasons, they claim, oh, it's racism, that's why they're being prioritized and whatnot, but they do have a point to point out that Ukrainians are being prioritized. So I do believe that in bending the rules for Ukrainians, in time, those rules will remain bent. They won't be rectified. Therefore, in time, all of the things that have been done to speed up the process to make it easier for Ukrainians to get here, that will be made applicable to people from other parts of the world, primarily from the land of the pyramid builder. So,
all they need to do is say they're from Ukraine, and they're hoping they'll get in. The only reason Hamza has his knickers in a twist is because the Ukrainians are not his people, and he knows it. They're white Europeans. But Hamza can go lick my you know what on when there's no one else to do it.
Now you're being very bigoted and racist, and I'm sorry, I disavow that. But I see what I'm saying.
Sorry, I got in a bit of a rant. Sorry.
No, you're not. I mean, mate, I've been fucking rambling myself for the vast majority of the stream, like, but I'm seeing the time myself now, half fucking 4 in the morning. Hello, Bass. I still don't know how to say set name. Not going to pronounce it wrong in case I sound like I'm trying to impersonate a Punjabi. Then I'll get done for a hate crime or some fucking shit.
You will sound like a Punjabi. It's very good. It's very good.
I'm trying to be a good global citizen around here.
Yeah, we all have to keep the end up.
Right. Anyway, so on that note, I will say that's today, I should say, actually. I think Bonnie Lad streaming tonight for anybody that watches this at a later date or later in the afternoon. Just a wee reminder for you. He's streaming tonight with Sensible and Active, I think, at the Patriot tomorrow night, Saturday night even. I believe that it's the sort of a resurgence of the old panel, but I don't know if Tam will be there. And what I'm on about Sensible and Bonnie Lad, but let's be honest, I made that show what it was in Bonnie Lad's absence because I'm fucking such a great guy. My hot takes. But anyway, and then on Sunday, I can't speak confidently about whether or not Clive will be there because he's on and off like a fucking, you know, it is what it is. I'm taking the piss. Love you, Clive. Love you, mate, if you're listening. But we're joined by Homatalk, so that should be quite good. Obviously, Ragnar's streaming tomorrow on Sunday as well. I think he's got the Ayatollah on, actually. I might be wrong, though. And Chief Moody, and that is it, I think, really, in that front. That's my duties done for the evening. I'll be expecting dividends if you get any donations, of course, because like you've just taken some of my client for free. And on that, if there's anything else you want to add in, fair enough. But if no, then let's get the fuck out of here. Like,
nothing to add. No,
Roger. Thank you to everybody that's actually stayed up, even though the vast majority of very strange actually that they all left around about the same time. You know, I highlighted that there was some oddity at play with all these Britons, in particular Scots. You know, 3 of them were in the chat, all up at the same time of the night, and they all just conveniently fuck off at the same time. And all. I think they were all in the same room. Eh? I think I caught them out. You know what I mean? I don't know. Having a wee mad one on a Thursday night, like, but I bet you that's what they're doing. I know you, Gorilla TV, if you're still listening, you strike me as that kind of guy, the party animal with the Iron Brew and the fucking a bit of rave music and that. Nah. Anyway, right. Sound, Rory Herbert, and I know you were still there because you left a comment. And that'll be that.
we will say good night, adios, and don't do anything I wouldn't do, like spurring out on a Sunday night. Right, bye-bye.